Hello and welcome to TransForm Tuesday. I'm Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. I'm pleased to be joined here today by Sarah Mitchell, in charge of our documentation department. And today is a pretty cool TransForm because it is the day that we have released the dashboard features into TransForm. So we're going to take a look at those. If you've seen what we did maybe a couple weeks ago, a preview, this will be a little bit of a repeat, but you're going to see what the actual controls look like, and you can actually play with it yourself right on the live site. So let's get started. I'm going to pop over to transform.alphasoftware.com, and here we are. And if you've logged in before, you're used to certainly these four tabs up here: Home Designer, Permissions, and Management Console. But the new one we have right now is Dashboard. And when you click on Dashboard, the thing you're going to see is a default dashboard that we've created for you. Of course, we don't know the fields that are going to be in your data, so this is a pretty general purpose dashboard. It just talks about how many records were submitted and things like that. I'm just going to go open that up right here. Here it is under Account Usage Dashboard. This is one of the defaults. Give that a moment to load. And here we go. Here is our dashboard giving us all kinds of metrics. Maybe not super useful at the moment, but we'll get into that. And on this dashboard here, we have different tiles. This first tile its job is to tell me how many forms have been submitted to my TransForm account. This one just tells me the last time a form was submitted. This is the number of forms that were submitted this quarter. I can go back to a previous quarter, and now it shows me slightly different data. Number of forms with errors, daily submissions. I believe this is a bar chart, might be wrong. And we've got a donut chart over here. So this is sort of what you get out of the box. But of course, you're probably going to want to make your own. And you can do that right up here with this little drop-down arrow. So here's the name of my dashboard. And I'm going to choose this drop-down arrow. And I'm going to go over to the hamburger menu. And I'm going to say that I'd like to add a dashboard. So the dashboard we're going to call is, I know we'll do a 5S dashboard. We did that before. That's based on our 5S form, which I'll show you in a minute. And there's my dashboard. I've created it, but it's given me a default name, Default Forms Dashboard. So let's first things first, let's just change that name. So we're going to click on dashboard name, and I'm going to call this the 5S Audit Dashboard. Now, I have more than just 5S audit forms in my account, so let's just filter that down to only show the 5S audit forms, because that's all I want on my 5S dashboard. So we're going to pop over here to filtering, and we're going to tell TransForm that we're only interested in looking at the 5S forms. So the way we do that is we say we create a filter condition, which I did by adding plus, by clicking plus. Let's see if I can I make this a little bigger? Maybe I can't. And I'm going to choose the field as form ID is equal to the 5S audit. So once I do that, that should, instead of 1,000 records, that should decrease the amount of records. I'm going to hit refresh. Hopefully this will work right here. And you'll see it's now dropped down to 367 records. So only my 5S forms are showing here. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And my number of forms should update. Now, before I go any further, let me just save this dashboard. Okay. And now we're ready to do some more cool dashboard things. Let's take a look. Let's, in fact, create a new tile, which I'm going to do by clicking the Edit button up here. I'm going to say Add a new tile. And now we've got a bunch more templates that you can choose from. So what you can do with this, or what we suggest you do, is you choose one that's closest to the one that you would like, and then just modify it from there. In this case, I'm interested ultimately in taking a look at which days of the week had the most safety issues. And that's kind of an interesting thing to look at. So I'm going to choose this one. This is a forms by month tile, and I'm going to start making some modifications to it. So this is forms by month, and all of them were entered in 2021 in March. So a couple things I want to do that's different now that I'm editing this tile. The first thing I want to do is I want to first of all say that instead of grouping these all by months, or what I will call clustering by months, let's do it instead by day of the week. And the field that I want to cluster on, and actually if I move my mouse over here, you're going to see day of the week here. They were all entered on a Friday, and that's because I'm actually using the created field. There's another field in my form that I would like to use, and I'm going to call audit date. And that's actually the one that I'm going to use for this. And to do that, I'm just going to say, hey, I'm interested in using a form field, which don't typically appear here in my list. But if I choose the 5S audit form, then I get my, on top of these metadata fields, I get my 5S fields. We'll skip down here to the end, and I'm going to choose audit date. And voila, just take a look. We've had 52, 53, 54, 52 entered pretty much evenly across the board there. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's see what that looks like. And so here we go. It's closer to what we want. We're looking at days of the week, but I want to know days of the week which had safety issues. And also this title forms by month this year is wrong. So let's fix that. I'm going to go ahead and click Edit Tile. And we're going to go down to the chart type, sorry. Graph days of the week, that part is all good. But let's do some more filtering. Let's add a filter in which, again, a filter from our 5S form. So let me grab that. In which the field called, we have one called safety issues. Safety hazards exists. And I'm going to say, here I could actually type in, if I knew what the values are supposed to be for this field, but it's always easier to choose items from list because then it gives you a drop down. So on forms in which the field called safety hazards exists, if the user has chose many, those are the ones I'm interested in. So I'm going to choose that. And if you'll see here in my preview, you'll notice that it's changed again. So Mondays and Tuesdays seem to have had the fewest safety issues. Wednesdays had the most. All right, that's very close to what I want, but a few more changes. The first thing I want to change is the title that's appearing up there at the top. So I'm just going to go grab that, and that is under, I believe, titles, labels, and legends. Yep. And I'm going to say serious safety issues. And this is going to be set by day. All right, pretty cool so far. I'm going to click save. Let's take a look at it. Very nice. Now, the one last thing that we want to do here is, this is blue, which is sort of a very common color, but this is safety issues. Let's make this red, just so that it stands out on our dashboard. And we're going to do that under, I believe it's under Graph X. Nope, it's under Graph Group. Sorry about that. Graph Group, right? And here I can type in the color red. And now it's been changed. Now, this is a really simple graph, but you'll see I put it together really quickly. And it's a neat graph in the sense that it's actually got a hotspot on it. So if I wanted to take a look, for example, on Tuesdays, or which Tuesdays had the ones with serious safety issues on it, I could click anywhere here on this bar graph or on the number. And when I click on that, it's going to take me over to something that looks a lot like the management console. And here are all of the ones that had the safety issues on a Tuesday, which is kind of cool. Neat thing here is that we're now displaying the form contents the way that the form was actually designed, which I think is great. And go back over here. And not much more to show you there. If you want to add more tiles, you could just do add new tile. You can actually reorder the tiles into different directions. And that's good. Sarah, just a quick question. Is my audio and video coming through okay? Because I seem to be getting some pinged that the
It is.
it is okay, cool.
I just wanted to ask real quick. I missed a little bit at the beginning. I had to grab a notebook. But did you mention what permissions are required to access dashboards?
I did not mention that, but I'll do that right now. Thank you. If you want to be able to access this dashboard tab in your, you need to be a user that has given either permissions to use the management console, or you need to be an administrator. So the way you would do that, let's say you had someone that in your list here, here's my manage user roles. I have 3 people here on my list. And this one, say Tim at example.com, he doesn't have permission to use the dashboard because he is not a administrator, and also he doesn't have access to the management console. One or the other would have been sufficient. If we wanted to change his permissions, we could click on that right now. I could say, oh, I'll give you access to the management console, Tim. Click set roles, and now Tim is good to go, and he can now use the management console. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you, this is a little quirk of this interface. When you choose one thing, it unselects the other, but you are allowed to select multiple roles at once. The way you do that is you hold down the control key. So besides having management console, I also want Tim to be a user, so I'm holding down control. I'm doing a control click, and I'm going to say set roles. And there he is, management console and user. So now Tim has the ability to use this as well. Let me show you some other things, which are pretty cool. Let's imagine that we were using this not to keep track of something that's happening the days of the week, but let's say something that's happening today or something that we want to get an update in real time. So let's say we built out some more tiles. Maybe the tiles are showing current level of outstanding tickets that need to be answered, or maybe it's showing the number of dollars in sales that have been made today towards a certain goal. Whatever it is, it's gonna vary by what your business is, but you might very well want to see a dashboard that shows up maybe on a display screen. So imagine this like a big TV monitor or something like that up on the wall, which refreshes, say, every 15 minutes to give you new information. That's a feature that's now built into the dashboard. It's actually pretty easy to get to. You just go up into dashboard, and then over here in this hamburger menu, you have the ability to do an auto refresh. Now, when you do auto refresh, a couple things happen. First thing is we remove all this heading stuff that you don't need to see. But the other thing is we've stopped making the screen interactive. So if you remember before when I clicked on this red bar here to see all the serious safety issues on a Tuesday, that doesn't work. This is meant purely as a display only thing. So how do you get out of it? You click the hide button. So notice there are 2 buttons down here, the refresh and the hide, as well as a timer showing you how much time has gone by since the data were updated. Every 15 minutes it gets updated. So you can refresh it sooner if you wanted to. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then lastly, if I wanted to shut it off, I can just hide it. Now, hide doesn't mean hide this. Hide actually means shut off the auto refresh feature. So maybe off would have been a better term for that, but I just want to let you know what that does. So I'm going to click hide. And now I am back. All right, cool. Now, as you could see when I was building a tile, there's an awful lot of options going on in here. I'll give you a highlight of some of them, but then I'm going to point you to the help on how to find out what the rest of them do. So, for example, when I'm in, this is not a good one. This is a good example. When I'm editing this tile, for example, in order to put all of these forms into the correct day, we're doing something called clustering. So we're going to show you how that works. I'm going to go down into Graph X. And to cluster in this case, all I had to do is say, just cluster by day of the week. It's one of the ones that was pre-selected as a type of clustering. So we can do years, months, days. But you might want to cluster based on something else. For example, you might have some sort of range. Imagine you're filling up, I don't know, fire extinguishers, right? And your fire extinguishers, they have a range of, say, 0 to 70 PSI. I'm making this up, but follow me. It means that it's low, right? And 75 to 150 PSI means that that has just enough charge in that fire extinguisher. Anything above 150 is overcharged. Well, you could create a cluster to say, hey, take a look for values between 0 and 75 and put them as one of the lines. Take a look for that 76 to 150, put another one, and then that 151 and above, put that in yet another graph. So that's just a way of clustering it. To do that, you would actually create use a custom TPL expression. And to make sure that the data in your TPL expression was right, we actually have this cool little feature here called show intermediate data. And what it does is it shows you which forms, as they select them, are going to go to which days. So the first form, well, we start with a form 0, goes on to a Wednesday. The next one was on a Saturday. The next one was on a Tuesday. Likewise, if we take a look at the process data, you can see which forms ended up being included on each of those days. This is really just to help you out when you are setting up the dashboard. You know, it's not really expected something that the end user would use, but it just it helps you out when you're doing clustering. So that's what this feature here is for. We have another section called user inputs. User inputs let you put controls up on your dashboard. So I'm going to switch back to one which has got one. The account usage one has got a user input, and that user input lets me choose which quarter I'm in, here and here. So if I took a look at this tile and I edit it and I went into user inputs, I would find that I have a user input I created called quarter, and I set it up to be a relative date, and there are a few other things here that you would do to set that up, and then that can be used later on when you're doing the filtering. So it has to be created during that quarter. All right, so enough of that. There's an awful lot in here, as you can see, but what I really want to do is just point you to a couple more high-level things and then point you to the help. So to begin with, when this is this level dashboard, the system dashboard is here for you to use, but you really can't make changes to it and save it because it's the system one. It's the one everyone uses. So if you want to duplicate this dashboard, what you would do is first select it so that it's the active dashboard. Give that a minute, and then you'll go back into here and back into the hamburger menu, and you'll say you want to duplicate this dashboard. So now I've got a duplicate of the dashboard, of the system dashboard. And if you'll notice, called copy of account usage dashboard, it's hanging out right here in the My Dashboard section. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to save this. And what that means as a result is that now I can make any changes and stuff I want to. It's not going to affect everyone else using the system. Now we have 3 levels or 3 scopes in which dashboards can exist. There's the system one, and we're probably going to have a few more system ones coming your way for you to use. There's the My dashboards. Those belong just to the user who's logged in. And then the account shared dashboards, which, as you might guess, mean that those are the dashboards that other team members in the same account are able to see. So those are that. Let me see if there's anything else that's cool about this. If you want to import and export your dashboard definitions, or even just the tile definitions, you can do that using this function here. And what it does is it gives you this big yucky JSON blob, but which you can set aside and actually paste into another account. So that's how that's works. So if you have a couple of accounts and you want to share dashboards between them, that's the way to do it. All right, so before we go any further, let's take a look now, or now it's time to take a look at the help. So we're going to click over here on help. And here is the dashboard help. It goes into things up at the top level, then it gets down into the tile level, how to edit dashboards, how to add TPL to your tiles, how to do the clustering and stuff that we were talking about. There's actually a great deal of really good information down in here. Okay, so that's that. That's something you'll want to take a look at. Of course, you can always send questions that you don't find answered here to TF service, as in transform service, at alphasoftware.com. That's monitored by a team of people here. We're happy to get back to you with the answer. And then the next thing I want to show you are the release notes for this. And you can find those back here when you click on the Home tab. Down here at the bottom, you'll find release notes under More. And here we've got the release notes talking all about the new dashboard features, the charts, the ability to do visualizations, its interactive ability, and the fact that it has an operational mode. That's the auto refresh feature that I was showing to you. How to share dashboards, how to customize the templates that you get there, and then what you can do when you're reviewing the data, because there's some new features there as well. This version also includes a new feature for queue notifications. You can now automatically send an SMS message to people who belong to a queue when a new record has been entered to the queue. And you don't need anything special for that. We handle all the SMS details for you in the back end. So there's quite a lot of new stuff that came out, largely in dashboards, but in other areas as well. So as we come to the end of our time, wondering if there are any questions. Just go ahead and go to.
There is one question about permissions, and the question is, what if we want a manager to view the dashboard, but not the management console?
But not the management console. Oh,
And they're asking
interesting.
if they could have a specific permission for that.
We don't yet have that, but I don't see a reason why we couldn't create that in our next iteration. That seems like it wouldn't be very, very difficult to do. So, okay.
Another question,
Keep
can we
in mind
access
though, if you
now?
have access to the dashboard, you're gonna by default have access to an awful lot of stuff that happens in Management Console as well. Let's see what happened to my, oh, there's my control panel, great. So in other words, like if I were in TransForm, and let's say I had access to the dashboard, I could just grab one of those tiles that shows me the number of forms that I have in my system. So let's go down to the system dashboard. Moment. And what this does is it would take you to a list that isn't quite the management console, but it's basically the management console. So currently there'd be no way to do that. I suppose you could have a view only. We could maybe do some sort of view only thing or make it so you're not allowed to get to this view. But if you put together what you're looking to do and what you're looking to restrict someone from doing, and put that in an email to TF service, we will take a look at it, and I'm sure we can come up with a solution that'll work for you. Let's see, any other questions? Oh, there's a whole bunch, hang on.
So you can skip all the ones at the top. That was somebody had found an issue, and that was getting a
Okay.
report out of them.
Can you show how to add users to an account? I can do that, absolutely. Let's do that. Let's go back, starting at the bottom here. So I'm going to go to the Home tab. That's where you do that. And let's say I'm going to add a user to my account. Right here under User Management, I'll just say Add User to Account. And then the only thing I have to do is type in that person's email address. So Sarah, can I use your email address?
You could use example.com.
I could use example.
Yeah.
Someone over at example.com, when I fill that in and click Add User, bang, is going to get a notification from our system that they have been invited to use my account. Now, if they are and it says it right here, if they don't yet have their own TransForm user account, then they'll create one. They don't have to pay for it or anything, but they'll have a username and password, basically, is what we'll set up. If they already do have a username and password on TransForm, then when they accept the invitation, they can just go ahead and select your account from the list when they log in. So like this, which will look like this. I'm going to log out and show you what that looks like. So here I'm logged out. I'll log back in. All right. And then because I have multiple accounts, I get this drop down. Otherwise, it would skip this drop down. And I'm going to choose the one I was just in, the Dave's Experiments account. So that's how we do that. Okay, we got another error. Someone said, oh, I tried to enter the dashboard section and I got the following error message, unable to get the property at calcstats of undefined or null reference. Okay, so if you've logged into Alpha TransForm recently, what I would suggest you do is go into your browser settings and clear your cache and cookies for TransForm, because we have had some reports of kind of weird behaviors happening as a result to cache content. And that should fix it. If it doesn't, of course, send an email over to TF service and we will get that fixed for you. Someone said, is it possible to share a dashboard in an A5W page? Ooh, we're working on it, but we are not right there yet. So the answer is no. Right now, the TransForm dashboards stay in TransForm, and it's not yet part of that. Okay, we did the user account. Oh, question, can we access the dashboards now? You absolutely can. If you go to transform.alphasoftware.com, dashboards will be right there in your right there in the interface. Another person with oh, I got one of those JavaScript errors and I tried to go there. Again, clear out the cache and you should be all set. If you still have a problem, of course, TF service. And that looks like it. Wonderful. Oh, actually, here's another cool thing being pointed out by one of our someone here, that when you're in a dashboard, this is actually really cool. And it's not something we thought of. This is something that we came up with after talking to a client who said, yeah, I love this dashboard. It's got just what I want on it. Not this dashboard, okay, of course, they mean the one that they created. What they were interested in knowing is, hey, can I export this dashboard? I want like a snapshot of it. And the answer is you can. If you click the export button, it'll either let you download the PDF file, you can, or send that as an email to an email recipient. So this could become a formal record. We actually have a customer who's now using these dashboards because they'll take it, put it into a PDF. That PDF becomes the formal record for the day of activity. And let's see. Oh, good. One of the people who said that they were having an issue said they cleared the cache and it worked. So good. So that looks like it. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I hope you find this stuff helpful. We'd love any feedback you have. If you're running into any quirks, something doesn't work the way you expect, you're getting an error, please contact us as soon as you can. We'd love to get everything squared away and get everyone up and running. So thanks very much, Sarah, for being here. Thanks, Dan, for chiming in. And thanks all of you for asking your questions. Hope to see you at the next Transform Tuesday. Take care and stay well. Bye-bye.